Hello and welcome to Victoriana. It's the beginning of November, and usually the first week of November is when we actually start lifting fruit from the open ground. But as you can see, this year we're virtually in full leaf. The leaves are just on the turn, and with a little bit of luck we're going to think about starting next week. But obviously that's going to mean for us and for everyone really that autumn is late. Today is an absolute gorgeous day. I guess the temperature's sort of mid-teens, maybe even a little bit warmer. We've been very busy the last few months and been a bit tardy on our clips, but finally had a little bit of time to get round to it, so we're going to do one now, and I'll give you a quick run around the nursery. But as I say, for us this autumn's going to be a bit tricky. Everything is still in leaf. Hopefully we're going to see that all coming off quite soon. We'll be getting all our autumn dispatches underway just as soon as we can, but if you've got an order in hand with us, do give us a bit of patience and do let us actually catch up. Similarly, if you have got an order with us, don't panic if stuff turns up with a little bit of leaf on it. That will be fine. The leaves will soon drop off and everything will be okay that way as well. But no, so I'll give you a quick run around the nursery. So here in the veg tunnel, we're all but cleared down now for the winter. All the chilies have gone into the bubble so that we can pick up a little bit of extra warmth and frost protect them just in case we do actually end up with a frost or two. And now obviously we're starting to move things in for the winter and spring. So we've got some brassicas there that we're actually going to be growing for seed, and some peas and beans. Our early asparagus has come in now. Or will be our early asparagus next year, and of course the strawberries as well. And then yeah, really just the end of the chilies that we couldn't fit in the bubble at the moment. But one thing that still is going very well indeed is the tromboncino up there, which is still producing massive fruits, and they're fantastic really. It's a great squash to grow, great for summer eating, and great to harden up a little bit and have for autumn eating too. But yeah, so there's a lot less in here than there was a month or so ago, but it's that time of year where we just have a little rest in here for a minute. Out on the veg garden, we're sort of as we'd expect for the beginning of November. So things like the saffron crocus, they're all in flower. Actually today they're full of bees. They are literally buzzing with bees, which I guess is a little bit unusual for this time of year, but bees are in there getting the most that they can. But no, they're doing well, and they're in full flower, as I say. Obviously we've got those caged, otherwise our friendly pheasants and partridge would have the lot of them, and there'd be literally nothing left now. In the brassica cage, we're sort of as we'd expect. The sprouts are thickening up nicely. The cabbages are doing okay, and we've been cutting them for some time. But the really strange thing is the artichokes. These had gone back completely to nothing because the weather had been so poor. We'd actually cut them right back, and we're thinking about newspapering them up, but yeah, the recent warm spell has thrown them back into growth, so not quite as we'd expect completely for this time of year, but all in all, veg garden is as it should be, I guess, for November. Here in the herb garden, we've sort of tidied up now for the autumn and into the winter. We've emptied out the annual herb beds and given everything else a bit of a trim up. Dehydrator's been quite busy with marjoram and oregano and parsley and chives and all sorts of things, so that will keep us going as a family for the whole of the winter and into the spring. But yeah, I suppose now it's time for it to gently start thinking about going into slumber. Over here is our Jerusalem artichoke bed, and again it hasn't really broken or dropped down in growth, so we've actually had to cut it all down this year, which is the first year that it hasn't sort of died back naturally. So we want to start lifting quite soon, so we've cut them down and we'll give them a week or so to think about what we've done, and then we can actually start lifting out some chokes. Down here in the flower area, we've pretty much pulled out all the annual stuff. It did get very tatty, and the wet and grotty weather we had at the end of September, or through the middle and end of September, sort of knocked everything for six, so it was time to pull it all out. Left the dahlias in at the moment. I think we're going to give them another week or so. They're still producing some nice flower which we can cut. And obviously over there the chrysanthemums are doing well, but once again the weather's got into them in one or two places. But there's still plenty of bloom to cut, so obviously we'll keep on with those for the time being, and then as soon as we pull the dahlias out we can think about getting some winter bedding and bits and pieces in here. So here on the shrub beds, considering where we are with things like the fruit trees and in the ground, autumn has sort of arrived. It's quite strange really. We're literally 100-200 yards apart, and here we've got things in full berry, cotoneasters and pyracanthus in full autumn berry, and a lot of leaf off the deciduous shrubs. And then, as I say, a couple of 100 yards away our fruit trees are in full leaf, so all a bit odd really this year, but we're nice and tidy out here and ready for the autumn and the winter really. So one thing we have managed to do since Chili Fest is finish off our summer tidying. You may remember that earlier in the year we had a very good tidy up. We moved quite a lot of soil around and straightened out some areas and levelled some areas off. And as I say, after Chili Fest we've been able to get out here, get the areas rotavated and stone raked. Not that every stone's gone, we're very flinty here, so we've got all the areas rotavated, stone raked, and we've sown as well. We've put down just over 1/4 ton of grass seed and go right over there as well. So it's straightened the areas out, tidied them up, gives us a chance to rethink what we're going to do with them, but obviously means that we're going to have just a little bit more mowing next year. So up here in the top house, it's a bit warmer than we'd actually like. I think I said in my last clip that we move a lot of stuff in for the winter to protect from the rains, and certainly through September that's helped. But now it's just a little bit too warm, and one or two things are coming back into growth, despite the fact that we're running the greenhouse with the vents open, which is what we do all the way through the winter, autumn and winter. Obviously if we have strong winds they come down, or snow, but other than that we'll keep the vents open, so that the greenhouse is basically working as a heavy rain protector rather than a protection from the cold. But yeah, we're sort of full up over on that side with an awful lot of perennials and bits and pieces, and a lot of them are putting on a spurt of growth that we really rather they wouldn't. But don't think we've got time now to move everything back out and then to move it back in, so as much as it's an awful thing to say, I hope that the warm weather doesn't continue for too much longer. So here in the soft fruit cage, it's a story of two halves really. We've managed to get most of the hybrid berries pruned out and back onto their wires, so we're glad with that, and obviously the currants etc and the gooseberries at the end as well. But the ground itself, and particularly around the strawberries, that needs a really good weed through, but it's just been too wet. It's just made it too claggy and too difficult to get in here and weed through. We just about started the first variety of strawberries right down the far end there, but no, hopefully if we actually get some dry weather, not necessarily warm dry weather, but some dry weather, we can get in here and get this tidied up before the onset of winter. So here in the bubble, again, because of the wet September we've had, we managed to get ahead of ourselves. So we've been through all the fuchsias, pruned them all back, potted a few on, tidied them up. We've also managed to get an awful lot of mind your own business and other things propagated as well. In actual fact, the prop beds, which are behind me, are also full of fuchsia cuttings and some herb cuttings as well. So yeah, again, we've managed to really get ahead on in here. And the other thing we've done this year is we've moved all our chilies over. So way over there we got a bench and a half of chilies. As I said when I was in the veg tunnel, we've done that in case we get some frost, so that we can hang on and keep the fruit ripening through. And anyone who comes into us now can actually literally come and pick their own fruit, so you can come and pick your own varieties of chili. They're all for sale now, as are the plants. So yeah, that's it really in the bubble. It's absolutely ram-packed with fuchsias and citrus and veg plants for next year, perennial veg for next year, and as I say, the chilies too. So I'll finish off for November up here in our little vineyard, which has been in now for I'm going to say 6 months. We've actually been through and done our winter prune already, which is probably wrong. Well, it is wrong really, but we had the time to do it, and it was another job that was in the air, so to speak, rather than down on the ground where it's been so wet and grotty. So we've been through and done a prune and tied the grapes in for the first time to the wires. So all good things are hoped for next year. So as I say, that's it for November, and I will try and catch up sometime in December.